Good afternoon. Welcome to GM Tips. You can hear Lilo and Stitch, Hawaiian roller coaster ride in the background. Yes, we got Disney radio on for Mini GM. So hopefully none of you mind this. Uh, it's going to be what it's going to be. Always on my videos, you're going to hear music and things in the background, including Mini GM. That's just a fact of life as a dad. And you know what? I don't mind it. It's what I am. I am a geeky dad that has a 21, a 17, and a 5. And I love every one of them. So, that said, what's the topic today? Well, first thing I'm going to say before we have the topic is I'm friggin' excited because I got a book in that I really and truly love. And that is this, Curse of the Crimson Throne. Yes, it has come. It is thick. And it is updated. I love it. There are lots of cool characters inside. Plus the original content of the Curse of the Crimson Throne, plus some just really freaking fun stuff. You haven't got your copy, get it. You haven't got the pleather, fake leather cover one, get it. Because that's the next thing I'm getting after this, if I can, once funds allow. And let me tell you, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about reading it. I'm excited about going back through an adventure path that I've read before, but I want to see what they did different. And I look forward to running it, just like the oh my gosh, Rise of the Ruin Lords. I'm just blanking today. So today's topic, after the plug, is going to be a really good one. And for those of you that haven't done the topic yet, and I appreciate Simon Peter Munoz kind of giving us the segue in with witches on his site that he does so well, which is we are going to do the topic of Halloween and Halloween type of monsters that you can run in your campaign. Even if you're doing a campaign out of a campaign path or you're doing something really fun and unique, throw some of these in this month. I think it just having them there gives it that thematic type of feeling. Again, whether it's a sci-fi campaign, whether it's a GURPS campaign, whether it's a Numenera campaign, whether it's a Savage Worlds, whether it is Cypher System, whatever it may be, let me just tell you, you want to throw some Halloween in. I love that. And you see Jack Skellington and Olaf from my winter theme and getting into the Halloween theme. So what are some monsters that I would pick? Now, again, mind you, I'm going to go out of the Bestiaries from Pathfinder, but you can probably find a build for these under any system you want or create one yourself. Keep that in mind. What do I see as classic Halloween monsters? Well, number one, and this is my number one that I think of any of them, is the Scarecrow. I love the Scarecrow because the Scarecrow has so much fun with it, and you can do a lot of tilts with it. It is a construction. It is, under Paizo, a challenge rating 4 that you could probably make it much tougher. I would say it's for much more the 1st to 5th level characters, though you could have multiple Scarecrows that come alive. They're just really cool because they got the gaze and the fear effect, and I really love them for that. They are vulnerable to fire. They are a Scarecrow, but they are just a really cool construct to throw in there with the party. And it's one that, you know what, they're going to expect walking into a field, but you can mesh a few ghouls in with it and make it really fun and scary at the same time. And so that's another creature I would look at too, is the ghoul or the ghast. They're always a great Halloween creature and a horror creature. And for lower levels with the Scarecrow, it's just a really scary proposition running into all the above. But the Scarecrow is just a classic monster, horror monster. If you guys remember, we've had a couple of them. Pumpkinhead, I think, had one in it. And there were some others that did. I think Children of the Corn had the Scarecrow that was the police officer. So there's just some really cool old school thematography there with these type of creatures. And I really do like them. I think for a lower level campaign and for a little bit of a fear effect. Now, build up the suspense around it. You can't just do this where, okay, you run into a Scarecrow in the field. You've got to build up the horror as they're going out among the corn stalks and they're out there and they can see the silhouette in the distance. And you want to put some ones that aren't animated constructs out there. Put some ones that are just regular. So you kind of lead them down this primrose cornstalk or wheat field path until they get to the right one. And then the lights come on and away we go. And you make it one of these, chase them. And if you want, you can have several of them around each other that all jump down at the same time and go. And it's just one of those things that will really have a shockingly fun surprise to the party. No, it's not going to kill them, and no, do you want to? But it sure will throw up the adrenaline level. And then out of the ground, you can have pop up the ghouls, and that would make it just so much more fun. So that's my number one. Now, I'm going to see if this one's in the bestiary too. I remember if it's 2 or 3 on this one, but that's the Dullahan. And I love 111. It's in here. The Dullahan. The Dullahan is your headless horseman out of your Sleepy Hollow. Love the Dullahan. Loves me that type of creature. I'm glad Paizo so much put them into a form, and you need to too if you haven't. The Dullahan is just an amazingly fun monster for any type of situation in campaign where you're running into some nasties. And there he is, the Dullahan, right by the Draugr. Why is he cool? Because the Dullahan is the headless horseman. Basically, clad in black robes and tarnished armor, this grim headless rider surrounds by an aura of menace. They are a CR7, so they're about a medium-level challenge for a party. And what I love about them is they've got the chilling blade that in the Death's Calling, and they can summon their mount. And it's just really a cool type of thing where they can work with that and really bring about some fun, interesting things with the Dullahan. And so
don't change your package song.
I won't. Go sing it. Go have fun with it. This is Princess Tiana, Mini GM. Hey, Sha. I love me some New Orleans. Yeah, if you guys haven't gone to New Orleans, you got to go. I loves me some Cajun and some Creole. And both good folks and both beautiful cultures. The Dullahan. So back to the Dullahan. I love that they give off just that frightful presence when they come up on the party. And think about it. When you see them slinging a head around with other heads on their belts, it freaks the living crud out of you seeing one of these. And these are great for just like when the party's riding along a forest path, and you can do more than one. Dullahans can travel in packs. Normally they're solitary, but don't be afraid if you want to bring up a little thing. You could have had 2 or 3 of them that became together, that were out of maybe a patrol party that were turned, and it just makes it into a weird effect. I'm excited because I'm hopefully going to see one of those come along somewhere in my adventure pants. Now, beside it, are the waterlogged dead of the Draugr. Now, the Draugr I remember most of all from Skyrim, and they were really the zombies in there, but they're kind of the waterlogged dead. They're the dead of the sea. They smell of decay in the sea because they were turned as Vikings. The Draugr out of the Viking legends. And so these are kind of the waterlogged Viking warriors that were lost and that came back because they're so angry that they didn't get to accomplish their task. So number 3, the Draugr. They give nausea effect to the creature that is damaged by the Draugr itself. And again, they don't have a lot of challenge, though you can put levels with the Draugr if you want. They do have the Draugr Captain, which is a little tougher, but again, for mostly low-level characters and the like. So keep that in mind. These are not going to be for your high-level characters. I love the Witchfire. 284. Yeah, the Witchfire. Now, that's a witch that basically died and didn't want to stay dead. And the Witchfire, again, out of the Bestiary 2 for that. But let's see. www. The Witchfire. It's an eerie-looking creature that will come up on your characters. It could have been a hag who died or a witch. So it's particularly a vile one. It's nasty. It's a little more challenging. It's a CR9, so it is a 10 hit dice creature. it is a little bit more challenge for your party. Now, multiple ones of these can come together. They normally say solitary. I ignore the solitary on it because, especially as you want to challenge your party, it is up to you. They're going to be in swamps and woodlands. They can be up to a coven in size because they have covens. And so if a coven was killed and that coven was particularly bad, that coven can come back. They have the Witch Flame capability, which is a nasty green flame that does some, it's an incorporeal touch that engulfs them in sickly green flames. And it's just a nasty effect to the characters. So I love the haunt effect of the Witchfire because, again, dark night out in the middle of nowhere, and then boom, right there. And that's what you want to think about. When you think about the Halloween, you don't want to pick undead that, are not going to strike a little bit of oddness or weirdness to your characters. So keep that in mind. You want some particularly scary things that to a character will just be the nightmare of their life. And so keep that in mind when you go with that the Witchfire is just a classically nasty creature that can come upon them out of nowhere. And it was a witch, a former witch. So that's number 4. I'm going to give you 10 today that I think are going to be some really good ones. All right. Again, love the Bestiary too. But keep in mind, you can look these up in your systems or convert them over. Most of these are convertible if you know their abilities. You just go into your system as a GM and convert things around to where it goes. The Wendigo. Now that is an ultimately scary piece of work. What does it come from? It comes from a cannibal person trying to survive, and he survives off his own people. And this spirit goes into him. It's a hideous spirit. The Deadlands have it. So keep that in mind. You don't have to convert that one for Savage Worlds. Deadlands has it. So does this. I believe so does D&D. At least 3.5 does. I think 4 does, and I believe 5e definitely does. They are nasty as all get out. They're a CR17. They have 18 10-sided die hit dice, so they are powerful. They are vulnerable to fire because they're a creature of cold, but they have some really nasty DRs and damage resistances. And they basically can do a psychosis or a haunting dream or a howl that affects the party. And it is chilling. When you come on one of those, you don't need multiples. One of those right there, and maybe some of his victims that he's turning into brand new ones, are scary prospects. And you want to make them tough. That is not an easy one to take down like others. That is a lot of them in the Native American religion saw them as a true spirit of power and evil. That was their version of a devil, or the devil. And it was nasty. And it was a scary piece of work. And it floats along above the ground, usually with its legs gone because it's not its own legs. So it's some scary piece of work. And the Wendigos don't play them as this little mamby-pamby creature. They should strike fear into your characters. In fact, you can use the fear rules where it deals with sanity. And keep that in mind. Something I would say to convert in a Halloween campaign is sanity. And I would do that in any campaign you've got some scaries. Put some sanity effect in there. It's usually their intelligence, wisdom, and charisma modifiers. So if that now in a system that doesn't have those, pick the next closest things to those. It's a subtotal of those, and that is the total sanity before they go nuttier than a fruitcake. Then there is the highest ability score becomes the threshold where they start to get a psychosis. If they lose that much in a single encounter, they get a psychosis, which is pretty scary. Those are treatable in most cases, but it takes a lot of effort to treat them. And so you really can have some fun with that. So there's number 5, the Wendigo. Now, number 6, and it's a truly nasty creature, and you don't want to treat it as otherwise, is the Bodak. The Bodak is created out of fear. And again, another one out of this book, the Bestiary 2. So keep in mind, if you want to do these creatures and you want to convert them, all you have to buy is the PDF of Paizo's Bestiary 2 and our Bestiary 2. And that's really where you come out. And I think of like a Bestiary, so I call it Bestiary, but it's Bestiary. The Bestiary 2, and there's your Bodak. Bodaks can have class levels. They can have a lot of other things. Bodaks were a creature that were converted um, by a horrific evil event. It says, when mortal humans find themselves exposed to a profound supernatural evil, a horrific or occult transformation can strip them of their souls and damn them into the tortured existence of a Bodak. The scary part about a Bodak is if the death gaze of a Bodak works on you, where they're looking at you with those voidless eyes with the wisp of their soul coming out, and you fail, you become one. So the horror of this is that within 24 hours, you can make more Bodaks. They are vulnerable to sunlight. That is their biggest vulnerability. But they are nasty. They are a CR8. If you put class levels, you can put them up as CR20 if you want, a challenge rating 20. Don't play them as a minor creature. They are horrific, and they are a plague-like creature because of what they do, and no one can explain why that gaze turns more, but it does, and it can convert a whole town in a matter of weeks to these. So it literally, you could have your players stumble into a small village full of them, and it's a scary proposition, and they're not meant to be an easy creature. They are meant to be as scary as you can make them. The Undead Revisited does a great job out of Pathfinder and under their campaign stuff. If you ever want to get that book, the Undead Revisited really gives them justice in talking about them. So don't treat them like this little Halloween-y, cutesy creature. They're not, okay? Giant spiders. Let's face it, what screams Halloween other than spiders? You can have a lot of these giant spiders, and some of them get pretty nasty. Some of them get to 12 and 14 hit dice, especially when you get into some of them. Now, you can do an Arania, which is the one that has the head of the humanoid, and its body is otherwise, and it can communicate, so it's intelligent. So they're interesting, and keep that in mind. They're fun and out-of-the-road ones. Notice I'm not picking your traditional vampires, liches and stuff like that, because that's day-to-day stuff. You can have them, but in my mind, they're day-to-day. And that's not Screaming Halloween. Screaming Halloween has a little bit more flavor to it. Now, we're going out of the Bestiary 3 with my next one, number 7, the Baycock. The Baycocks are interesting. They are basically a hunter-styles undead. They become so obsessed with the chase that it goes into savagery, that when they die, that savagery continues. They're a CR9, though again, they're 15 D8 hit dice, but you can put more into them, and you can power them up. And usually a Baycock does not necessarily go solitary. They can do a gang of 2 to 5 or a flight of 6 to 12. Depends on how many hunters were together when they are taken down. These are usually your poachers and your nasty of the nasties. So keep that in mind. The Baycock are just relentless. They will not give up the hunt. So as long as their prey is alive, they will continue after them. They've got magical composite bows that they use in their hunt. And they have the undead traits, plus they have the ability to devour a soul as a standard action when something's dying, or they can do a dread howl. Now, if they devour the soul, basically you're done. You are done. Let's see. It's a Baycock. If a Baycock devours a soul this way, it heals the points, and this is a death effect. So you are slain if you miss on these. So keep that in mind. All right, let me see if I can change it for you one more time. I don't know if I can do much more, Bug. This may be the last one. All right. There you go. More Tiana.
No, I said family.
I know. I can't do much there. The Shinigami loves me some good Japanese religion with the Shinigami. So keep in mind that a Shinigami is another creature you